Hi, Abrianna. This is Rebecca with your assignment 4 critique. Even though you already turned in your assignment 5 assignment, I'm just going to give you some feedback if you ever want to make these changes for your final um, professional portfolio. You have some feedback. So here's your persona. Sophia was your partner, and she helped with a really nice color palette. And then we have her great VOC. This mind map, I would like to encourage you to dig even deeper on your mind maps to branch out another level, um, just to strengthen your concept even more. Your concept is really good, um, but I think that um, just if you could use the mind map exercise to do even more problem solving and even more kind of brain dumping, it would just only be beneficial and only take a couple more minutes. You know what I mean? The next is your mood board, and it's beautiful. I love this find right here is really neat. These little Art Deco fonts. That's way cool. And you also have some fun color palettes that I can see influenced your final piece, and some great little app inspiration. And your logo thumbnails, it looks like you went with number 1 here. And here's your brand guide, and it turned out fantastic. I love this color palette. It is so fun and like fresh, and would work for both Miami and Havana. They're both fantastic. This pattern is really cool. I don't know if you made that. I love it. I think it's really neat. And then I love this letter mark here. I love the very thin line you gave it to mimic this thin line here. That's it's lovely, really nice. Um, and this font is just the coolest, just absolutely the coolest. The juxtaposition between those thick stems versus these super thin lines is just so elegant, really beautiful. And the pink just makes it extra fun. Now we have your UI sketch, and I love all your notes here. I think that it's really helpful and yeah, really, really good problem solving there. And now we have your mock-ups. And so the color palette overall looks really great. These icons are really beautiful, and I wonder if you made those. They're really neat. I love the thin stroke there. There's so many great ideas, especially for someone who's never designed an app before. I mean, you went above and beyond with your concept, like solving your persona's concerns is all present. It's just so thoughtful, all of the little features that you have throughout here. For example, I love these right here, this cleaning service and do not disturb toggle. I think that's super smart. Um, I love uh, the amenities list as well. Sorry, I was started reading. This part is super fun. I love all these images. And then this part is my favorite. This is just such a neat idea and can really kind of take the guesswork out of wondering if you're spending too much money. And what I think is also really neat is it says you visited, um, you booked, and you visited another place. So it's almost like, when you're on a vacation, you can kind of just get swept up in what's the next thing you're going to do, but having a second to kind of reflect on the things that you did do on your vacation is just like a really nice mindfulness, um, like not practice, but mindfulness, like reminder. And I think it's really cool. And then you have your travel goals down here. So that's really neat. So aesthetically, there's just some things I'd like to point out that could use some improving before you post this to your online portfolio. And that is, so on the homepage, we really need a huge, glorious hero image. You have that image, but it's, you crank the opacity down so low or you put a screen over it that it's really hard to see and it doesn't really do the building and the architecture, this Art Deco architecture that we're trying to feature any justice. So I do recommend turning the opacity back up and just treating this. You don't have to overlay any text over it. Just give it like the glory that it deserves and the attention that people like to see a big image when they get to a home screen. They just like that. They like photos a lot. So you could leave the logo up there. You could even consider moving this part next to the letter mark to make it more horizontal. Um, and you might need to increase the size of hotel if you make it a horizontal logo. And then so that it, it kind of lives up in the sky of the image, and then move Welcome Sophia below. And then you could also move check in and out. You could kind of put those on the same line. You could make it say like, yeah, anyway. And then I know that in this format, it's not going to fit on the same line. That's what I was trying to say. So you could abbreviate August or turn this into numbers, And then down here, I love this little accent here, this little like ornament, but I like the scale of it better over here. So if you just want to keep these 5 little guys, I would increase the scale of them because the thickness of this line weight is nicer. Down here, since it's all scrunched together, it reads a little differently, and we don't get those elegant thin lines, that detail anymore. So I would just increase that weight. I'm sorry, not weight. Increase the scale to this size and give it a little more, there. Then I want you to notice this is the only hot pink button you have, not including these toggles. It's a hot pink with white text, but you don't have that anywhere else. So just pay attention to how you treat your buttons. You want them to be familiar as buttons across the entire app. And so if you're changing them constantly, then it just makes people guess a little bit. And I know people are more savvy than they used to be when it comes to apps and like online interfaces, but still, the less guesswork you make them do, the less frustrated they'll be with the app and the more they'll like it. Next, we have the amenities section. So on this page, you have a hamburger menu, excuse me, but on this page, on the home page, you don't. So I definitely recommend including the hamburger menu on all 4 pages. And then, so I'm not sure if this is the menu, if this is the hamburger menu, like when you click on it, if this is your navigation. But I don't think it is because it doesn't include these other options like to find your profile and to explore South Beach. So I do recommend making a 5th page because I wouldn't get rid of any of these. They're so good. Showing the navigation if you do that. Then I want you to look at how you treat your headlines on all of these. Amenities, your header ones, we'll call them. So this is a title over here at say. Then this would be header 1. Header 1 is the same on this page too, so that's good, and it falls about the same place. So that's good as well. Excuse me. But then here on Explore South Beach, it's bumped up a little higher. The font is smaller, and it almost appears more bold. It could just be because it's black, but it could be also because it's bold. So just give yourself a paragraph style for header 1 and have it be consistent through the whole thing. Okay. Then we have club is the same size as your header 1, and that should be like a header 2. Same with pool, bar, front desk. So it should be just a smidge smaller, maybe a different color. It is cute how this is kind of all pink with this blue background. So it's up to you if you want to change the color or not. And then if you reduce this font size, you may have to reduce this font size of the hours. And then I want you to pay attention to your alignment. So I think that I'm just looking at everything here. So I want you to have your baseline on these icons line up with the baseline of the buttons going all the way across, okay? Then if you have buttons, look at these 3 on here. You have the title, the hours, the button, title, hours, button, title, hours, button, title, hours, but then button to the side. So I would move that button below to just keep the formatting the same. I would also align left all of these on the same sort of grid line, vertical grid line there. So you're just tightening up your grid essentially, okay? If you do have to adjust the scale of these icons for any reason so that like they fit a little bit better, because notice if you align your club little record player there with the baseline, then it won't align the top part with the word club, whereas bar, your martini is going to extend past the word bar. And you get the idea. Pool might align with the top of pool, whereas this little food thingy, food cover, is not going to align with front once you move it down because the button moves down. So if you have to increase or decrease the scale of an object, just highlight everything again and adjust your stroke weight so that the stroke doesn't scale. You could also select everything first and check that scale, stroke, and effects button in the transform section or transform scale option. I hope I'm making sense. So either way will work. Just make sure your scales all stay the same because that's what's so elegant about this design. Now let's look at the buttons. So if we look at Explore South Beach, I notice that these buttons change width, right? They stretch according, or they get skinnier according to how much text is in there. And they also, the space here, the padding, I'll call it, or margin around the word kind of changes. Notice how wide this one is versus here. And then some of these even wrap, whereas some of them stretch across. So I just want you to be consistent across the whole board here. If you want your buttons to stay the same width on this page, that's fine. Just make sure you center align everything. They're not all quite centered aligned. Some of them are left aligned, some appear centered. So center align all that text on those buttons. And then look at how large checkout is. We've got a huge margin above it and below. And this button is the biggest button of all the buttons in the whole app. So just make it the same as all the other ones. It doesn't have to be quite so gigantic. There's really, yeah, it's not like the most important call to action. You know what I mean? I think spending money is a more important call to action to a client, like the hotel. Okay, great. Then over here, because remember the hotel is essentially your client. We just need to know who their client is, and that's the persona. Okay, so back over to, so that addresses, oh yeah, the other thing here for amenities, you may want to incorporate a rollover look, like if you wanted to, when they roll over an area, an image, a photo can pop up behind it of the club or of the pool or of the bar or of the front desk. That might be a neat little interactive feature. And that image could stretch across the whole. It would just fall behind this the row that the feature is in, and then stretch all the way to the edge of the canvas, or I'm sorry, the edge of the screen, like you have your photo over here, like all the way, beyond the bleeds kind of thing. Okay, now over here on Explore South Beach, I already addressed the header, and I want you to move this hamburger menu lower. It's going to fall in the exact same place on all screens, so just make sure that's always consistent. Even over here, it's okay if it falls over your beautiful ornament up there. That's totally fine. Don't worry about that overlapping. Then the search is good, but I think that you could have them be on the same line. You just need to reduce the width of this search part, and that's totally okay. Then we have top picks is good. So top picks is going to be your header, excuse me, header 2. So that's going to be the same size as whatever you make club. And then I mentioned the buttons. I think it's okay for buttons to change the width. I just want to see, especially for this, I just want to see the space between the sides the same, and I don't think any of them should wrap unless they all wrap, which they could. You could put a break after you could put a break after south, all those things, but you're not wrapping anywhere else, and so I wouldn't wrap here. I would have them stretch across. Then down here we have restaurants and nightlife, which is really nice, and yeah, that all looks good to me. The rounded corners make sense to me here because you have these rounded features there. This doesn't make sense to me down here, this nav, because it's not anywhere else on the other pages. So just get rid of those and push everything down a bit because you do have your hamburger menu, and I think that's fine. Okay, then this one. is my absolute favorite. I love it very, very much. So header 1 here, right? Header 2, so this is going to be the same size as club, which it might already be a little smaller, so I think that's working. I love this. This is just such a cute feature. So cute. I love it. And then this is all good. Now these buttons here, notice that they have a flat side on their left and right sides, and that is nowhere else to be seen except for in your images. So just however you treat these buttons over here, make it identical on this side, okay? And then travel goals. Yeah, that could be also a header 1 because it's like a new section. Excuse me. So consider with the travel goals, if you have a new section, maybe give it a horizontal rule to separate it, or maybe give this section a different colored background, like you're scrolling down, like it could continue to scroll. So I think you have another color to play with them. You have that yellow to play with there. And then I also wanted to mention that green isn't as green. I think you lightened it up a bit. I think that's fine. Never mind. That's good. I would like to see these. I'm not a big fan of lowering opacity of photos, if you haven't already uh, noticed from what I said about the home screen. So these photos are so gorgeous, and they really feature the beauty of this area. So what I do recommend doing instead is pulling up the opacity to 100% on all the photos. And because look at how contrasty this photo is, like it stands out more than almost anything else on the other screens, right? It's awesome. So turn this up 100% and then maybe give yourself a little screen at the bottom, meaning, a little rectangle of white or green or whatever color you'd like to use, that you turn that opacity down and you place the word restaurants or nightlife or bars or attractions on top of that. So you can have that fall on the bottom third, you can have it fall across the center or across the top third, and just have it be the same on all of these. And you could also consider changing the font color. See how it reads in your bright pink, because that'll tie it to the consistent pink text that you have a little everywhere else. And consider that up here as well. Consider changing your button color to pink, and just see how that works, and see if you crank up this green to that full green, how that looks, because that's an awesome green. This one's nice too, but the other one is just really great. It's really fun, and that's a fun page. Okay. All right. I know that was a lot, and I just do want to emphasize that it's. I know that was like a lot of um, little nitpicky, little annoying things, but overall, it is one of the best designed apps as far as these features and the thoughtfulness behind the features, and tying it into the value of your persona. So the hardest part of designing this app is like A plus plus plus. Like you did so fantastic. And then the all of the icons and um, fonts, everything is super Art Deco and beautiful. So I just want you to know, like, that is all really cool too. This is all just really alignment and consistency that will just push this design over the top. You know what I mean? And I think that that's what employers are looking for when they see when they're looking at things like this, is just consistent and across the board. Okay, great work. Thanks so much.